What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. And there's a major deal brewing here, and it's called the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022. The Democrats are going to potentially use one of their reconciliation cards to pass this bill. Apparently, Senator Joe Manchin has signed on to the deal and has given his stamp of approval to pass the bill. We're waiting on Senator Kirsten Sinema on that. We'll get to that here in a moment. But this was kind of a shock, and this came after the Senate passed the CHIPS bill, which was around $280 billion that has now passed the House as well, and has gone to President Biden's desk. That was a bipartisan bill, and Senator Mitch McConnell was very upset once he found out that Senator Joe Manchin changed his mind yet again, because beforehand, Joe Manchin was a no, and well, was Joe Manchin playing possum and potentially, for lack of a better word, was he just saying that he was gonna not vote yes on this? And less than 5 hours after they passed the chip bill, he decided, well, I'm going to now all of a sudden vote yes on this next version of the what they're calling Build Back Better 2.0, or the Inflation Reduction Act 2.0. So take a listen. Here's some details about this new bill, or what is so far what we know about it.
President Biden insists the Senate Democrats' massive new spending deal will ease pressure on the economy. They're calling it the Inflation Reduction Act. Today, the president described it as a historic agreement that will fight inflation, lower health care costs, and tackle climate change.
With this legislation, we're facing up to some of our biggest problems, and we're taking a giant step forward as a nation. This bill is far from perfect. It's a compromise. But it's often how progress is made, by compromises.
Well, as we reported, the deal was essentially dead until Senator Joe Manchin reversed course and threw his support behind it just last night. He had been holding out for weeks, but the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer still faces an uphill battle to pass this bill. CNBC coverage continues with our senior White House correspondent, Kayla Tausche. Kayla, break down the bill for us.
Well, Shep, the 11th hour deal reshapes energy, health, and tax policy, and it will likely be the last big bill passed before the midterms after the House passed the CHIPS bill today. The Inflation Reduction Act, as it's called, provides $385 billion in funding for clean energy. It subsidizes Affordable Care Act premiums for 3 years. It allows Medicare to negotiate drug prices, and it pays for it all mostly by establishing a 15% minimum tax on corporations. Democrats say it raises $739 billion and spends just more than half of that, netting $300 billion that they've pledged for deficit reduction. The Washington Post says Senator Manchin's colleagues launched an intervention this week, enlisting former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers, who talked to Manchin in detail about why Democrats' proposed economic package, including its energy provisions, would not lead to higher prices. Today, I asked the administration whose input it received.
I'm wondering where the White House sought assurances that the tenets of that legislation would, in fact, lower inflation.
I would refer you to Larry Summers on the conversation that they have. I know that he has been very supportive, clearly, of the act, Inflation Reduction Act. I'm just not going to go into any further details from that.
Behind closed doors today, the Senate Majority Leader told his caucus that the bill captured the party's longtime priorities and urged them to pass it. But Senator Schumer demurred when asked whether he'd secured the support of Arizona's Kirsten Sinema, who had long opposed tax increases.
Look, the members are reviewing the text. It's a long text, 700 pages. I'm giving everyone time to review the text. In the meantime, we're continuing with the birdbath, and we expect to move forward next week.
The bill could see a vote next week, but Democrats currently don't have critical mass. Senator Patrick Leahy, recovering from hip surgery, has said he'd return to vote. Senators Durbin and Manchin currently out with COVID.
Yeah, so let me know your thoughts here in the comments. A lot of this also comes down to what Senator Kirsten Sinema will she sign on to it? Also, now that we're in a recession based on GDP going down 2 consecutive quarters in a row, what might be added into this package here as we go forward? Also, if Senator Kirsten Sinema will sign on. Take a look.
Democrats are still buzzing about the stunning Senate deal reached this week that would dedicate $369 billion to the fight against climate change and give a real shot in the arm to the Biden agenda ahead of pivotal midterm elections this fall. One potential roadblock, Democratic Senator Kirsten Sinema, who has refused to say whether she will support the bill and was missing from a Democratic caucus meeting yesterday. Let's bring in Senator Brian Schatz from Hawaii, the Democrats' deputy whip. Have you seen Senator Sinema? Will she vote to support it?
Well, I'm certainly not her spokesperson. I talked to her several times yesterday, and I think it's reasonable. This is a big bill, and I know she was deeply involved in getting the CHIPS bill enacted into law and then trying to get marriage equality across the finish line. So I don't think she's had time to dig in, and I know she's someone who likes to understand the details of legislation, so perfectly reasonable to take a few days. I don't speak for her, but I can tell you that every time I've talked to her about climate, she wants to take major, bold action. Certainly the state of Arizona is experiencing the negative impacts of climate change. So I won't predict anything except to say we're in good conversations, and it is not at all unreasonable for a member to want a couple of days to read the bill.
So big picture, is your confidence level high that you have the votes?
Yeah, I'm confident but not overconfident because obviously we've been here before and we've been on the precipice of enacting this kind of legislation before. So nothing is over until the president signs this bill. And with a 50-50 Senate and an almost 50-50 House, it's going to be hard. But we do stand on the precipice of reducing the cost of prescription medicine for millions of Americans by making billion-dollar corporations pay at least 15%. A lot of them pay zero, and of taking the most important climate action that the American government has ever taken, reducing emissions by 40% by the year 2030. So this isn't pie in the sky stuff. This is going to transform the American economy in a positive way and save people money and create new jobs while attacking the climate crisis. I could not be more thrilled.
Tell me why you think this happened now. Do you think it's everything that's going on? You mentioned Arizona. There's almost not a state where we haven't seen absolutely devastating weather. Right now it's going on in Kentucky. There are children who are dying in floods. We saw the Strip last night in Vegas being flooded. What moved this?
You know, I don't know. I do think that there's not a single reasonable person out there who doesn't understand the urgency of climate change and understand that weather is getting really severe, and storms and floods and wildfires are getting not just more severe, but way, way more frequent. And so when you experience it in real time, it becomes less of a political question and more of a question of physics, but also a question of morality. So I think the impetus is there to take action. And I think the other thing that needs to be said is that Chuck Schumer never left the table, and Joe Manchin actually, despite what it looked like, never left the table, and they just kind of stayed in there through a very, very difficult period of negotiating. And we have a bill that will reduce inflation, reduce the cost of prescription medicine, and be a big, bold climate bill.
This isn't the only thing on your plate. Republicans, as you well know, tanked that widely supported bipartisan bill that expanded medical coverage for veterans exposed to toxic burn pits. Veterans are furious. What do you think is going on here? And will this bill eventually make it through? Chuck Schumer says he'll bring it back up on Monday.
Well, we'll see what happens in the vote on Monday, but they are clearly, taking their marbles and going home. They're so mad that we're going to actually execute on our agenda, that we're going to do what we promised to do, that they're going to tank other bills that they claim to support. It started with the CHIPS bill. They said they were going to tank something that they said was essential for national security and for the American economy if we went ahead and reduced the cost of prescription medicine. That gambit didn't work. Now they're trying to tank the PACT Act, which takes care of veterans who have been exposed to burn burn pits, for goodness sakes. And now there's at least some chatter that they're going to kill gay marriage if we try to enact this legislation to reduce the cost of prescription medicine. We're not going to be deterred. That's the first thing that everybody needs to know. But the second thing is, just as not just a moral matter, but as a political matter, it strikes me as stupid to try to punish the American people because Democrats are doing popular things.
Yeah, so let me know your thoughts here in the comments. We'll have to see here. The veterans bill that would have provided health care has been a really big issue. Also, somebody won the Mega Millions here and is now a billionaire. A billionaire. $1.28 billion was sold to a single person in Illinois. It's not immediately known who bought the $2 ticket and matched all 5 winning numbers and the Mega Ball. Wow. Let me know if it was you in the comment section. Yeah, what an achievement. And wow, somebody is now a billionaire. What a sight. And that is one single person. One single person. Yikes. Unfortunately, the thing about the lottery, me and my father-in-law, we bought some tickets and we just lost out so bad. That's the thing about the lottery. It's just such a losing proposition. Just it feels like every time we play it, it's just you just lose. It's just yeah. My dad's been playing for years and he just loses all his money every time. It seems like, and even when he does win, the money just goes right back in. It's just yeah. It's a tough thing. But here to brighten your day is my son Julian, the hurricane, Hurricane Julian. Yeah, so here we go.
Hi.
Say hi to my little buddy here.
Hi.
What are you doing?
I was like going to Papa's house.
You're going to Papa's house.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a nice day out there, huh?
And they're taking me back on 9 o'clock before bedtime.
Yeah. Those are some cool shades you got there, buddy. Yeah. Look like Tom Cruise.
What?
Yeah.
Yep, these are my sunglasses.
You look like you could be in Top Gun.
What's Top Gun?
That's a guy who flies a really cool airplane. Do you think you could fly an airplane one day?
Maybe when I'm 100.
I don't know. You might be a little too old then. But when you are 100, you'll be old. You'll be old enough to still be in Congress.
Hey.
You got too much energy, kid.
Yep, I never went out of energy.
Yeah, we know. You need to go run outside for like hours. Did you tell him all the running you did with the kids yesterday? Outside?
Yep, I won like this, and they beat me a drum.
Did you tell him how fast you were?
Yep, but in my shoes, I beat one kid in the middle of a race.
All right, well, tell him you're going to go enjoy the summer.
I'm gonna go to Papa's house.
All right, can you say bye-bye, everybody?
Bye-bye.
Say we love you.
We love you.
Say make sure to subscribe down below.
Make sure to subscribe down here.
And say you can click here to watch our next video.
You can click up here to watch the next video.
Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.